A man was forced to kneel on the ground, completely naked. A circle of men in black surrounded him. The man's name is Minjun. Right now, a group of men in black are searching his body for bugs. They pried open Minjun's mouth. He felt so awful he wanted to throw up. Seeing this, the leader in black had the others leave. He stayed behind to continue the search. Watching the others walk away, Minjun felt even more panicked. Then, the leader in black told him to turn around and spread them. Minjun broke out in a cold sweat and asked, "Spread what?" The leader in black looked down at him. He replied coldly, "What else? A man only has one hole to hide things, doesn't he?" He felt humiliated and furious. He said he was just passing through. He accused them of committing a crime. Hearing this, the leader in black said nothing. He stared expressionlessly at the man kneeling on the ground. Minjun felt his heart race under his stare. He thought the leader in black looked so handsome, even with that blank expression. Then the leader in black suddenly crouched down. He said in a low voice, "You know Toma, right?" The man nervously grabbed the boss's thigh and explained he didn't know Toma. Today was the first time he met Toma. Minjun is a college student. Just a few hours ago, he was standing on an overpass, feeling frustrated. Minjun came here to study abroad for his lover, Tai, but they only dated for 6 months. Tai scammed Minjun out of both his body and his money. He even took out a loan from a loan shark for him. He even pawned his passport to the lender. Thinking about all this, Minjun felt so frustrated he wanted to bang his head against the wall. He didn't know what to do next. While he was worrying, he suddenly heard urgent car honks. Startled, Minjun stepped back and fell to the ground. He saw several black cars suddenly stop under the overpass. Several men in black rushed out of the cars. They shouted urgently that the young master got out of the car. Then Minjun saw these people running forward in a hurry. Minjun saw the men in black with fierce faces. They were running in his direction. Startled, he wondered if loan sharks were coming to collect his debt. He panicked, thinking if these people caught him, would they throw him in the ocean? Or would they shell him? While Minjun was lost in thought, he heard a voice calling for mommy. Then the boy ran over and threw himself into his arms. Looking at the crying boy in his arms, Minjun was confused. Whose kid is this? And why is he calling me mommy? Then, the group of men in black caught up. They pulled out weapons and aimed them at Minjun. They told him not to get near the child. He was just passing by, but a kid threw himself into his arms, calling him mommy. And now a group of thugs had forcibly taken him away. This man was seriously unlucky. Minjun saw a group of people pointing weapons at him. Terrified, he held the child tightly in his arms. He told them not to scare the kid. Seeing this, the men in black put away their weapons. They said to Minjun, "Can you bring the young master over here?" But hearing this, the child in Minjun's arms held him even tighter. He kept saying Toma wants to stay with mommy. The men in black were all talking at once, trying to persuade him. They asked Toma to come over and not trouble Minjun. Then, a tall man walked over. He asked them what was going on. Everyone respectfully called him boss when they saw him. Seeing him walk over, Toma shouted, "I don't want daddy, I want mommy." Turns out this handsome man is Toma's father. Minjun felt uneasy and emphasized to Toma again, "I'm not your mommy." But hearing this, Toma immediately burst into tears, saying Minjun was his mommy. Seeing this, the boss stopped for a moment and told his men to bring both of them into the car. Minjun was dragged into the car and felt totally bewildered. "I was just passing by. Why are you taking me?" On the way, Minjun was frightened and couldn't help muttering his ex-boyfriend Taizi's name. The boss then had someone look up Taizi's information. Even worse, as soon as they arrived at that place, Minjun was stripped of his clothes. They checked if he was carrying anything on him, and now they wanted to check that part. And the boss was going to do it himself. This made Minjun feel extremely humiliated. After confirming there was nothing there, the boss threw off his gloves and told his men to come in. Minjun could finally put on his clothes. The boss's men had also looked up his and Taizi's information. The information was very detailed. How old Minjun was, where he was from, where he went to school. Even how much he owed to loan sharks was found out. They also found that Taze was a notorious con artist who specialized in scamming men. The boss turned to ask Minjun, who spent the money from his loan shark debt. Minjun gripped his clothes and mumbled. Not long ago, Taze said his mother was sick. One of the men looked at him with pity. His mother died 2 years ago. Only then did Minjun realize Taze had lied to him again. Besides that, he stole his tuition, his passport, even his living expenses. Hearing Minjun say this, even the men felt sorry for him. The boss asked him again if he used his body as collateral for the loan shark debt. This man was randomly dragged into the organization, and he signed a contract to become the kid's mommy. After learning Minjun was scammed and borrowed from loan sharks, the boss asked Minjun, "Loan shark lenders usually make people use their bodies as collateral. Did he read the contract when he stamped it?" Minjun scratched his head, remembering when he borrowed the money. He really didn't read the contract carefully. Minjun wanted to read the content carefully, but faced with Taizi's desperate begging, in the end he signed and stamped without reading it. The boss was at a loss for words. He couldn't understand how someone with his IQ got into college. But since Toma had decided he was his mommy, The boss still proposed signing a contract with him. The boss said he'd help him get his passport back. He'd also pay off his debts and give him tuition. And Minjun would have to stay and pretend to be Toma's mommy until Toma could recognize he wasn't his mommy. Then he leaned down and got close to Minjun and said, "If you want, I can also take care of Taze for you." Hearing this, Minjun immediately waved his hands and refused. The boss frowned. "Do you still have feelings for him?" Minjun shook his head. Who'd still have feelings for him? It's just that his crime doesn't deserve death. The next day, Minjun woke up thinking yesterday was just a dream. But he quickly realized it was all real. Toma was sleeping right next to him. Then Kenta, who was in charge of educating Toma, woke. He handed Minjun an outfit. Toma woke up at that moment. The first thing he did was hug Minjun's arm and call him mommy. Minjun gently touched his face and greeted him warmly. Toma immediately beamed with joy. He told Minjun that usually after Kenta woke him up, he would go have breakfast with Dad. Then Kenta came over to help Toma change clothes. But Toma didn't want to. He clung tightly to Minjun. Minjun ended up changing Toma's clothes himself. But he was reluctant about going to have breakfast with Toma's dad. But Kenta said the boss was very busy. Only at breakfast could he spend time with the young master. Kenta was very respectful toward Minjun. This was the boss's order. He required his men to respect Minjun. This made Minjun feel the boss didn't fit the typical image of an organization member. On the way to breakfast, Kenta told Minjun their boss was the leader of the Wayama organization. And Toma, who he was holding in his arms, was the next leader. Minjun had a hard time imagining that a soft, adorable kid like Toma would become a big boss in the organization. This man is way too crazy. He actually did that kind of thing in the bathroom and got caught. Minjun carried Toma to the dining room. He saw the food was more ordinary than he imagined. He couldn't help but laugh to himself. He thought the organization's breakfast would be something special. The boss himself just drank coffee and read the newspaper. While Minjun and Toma were eating heartily, one of his men came to the boss's ear and whispered a few words. The boss frowned and told someone to get the car ready. He kissed his son and told him to wait at home for him to come back. Then he turned and prepared to leave. But Toma suddenly stood up and said with dissatisfaction, "You have to kiss mommy too." Hearing this, the boss stopped and looked sideways at the blushing Minjun. He told him to stand up. Minjun fumbled and said, "I don't need it." But Toma was watching eagerly from the side. The boss didn't want to disappoint him. Minjun reluctantly stood up and called out boss. But he grabbed his chin and said since Toma calls him mommy, he shouldn't call him boss either. As he spoke, he leaned down and got close to him. After getting in the car, the boss thought about that moment. He suddenly felt he was getting interested in Minjun. And Minjun, who stayed home with the child, was also thinking about being kissed. He couldn't help imagining being held in the boss's arms. He felt his whole body heating up, but when he realized what he was thinking, he covered his face with both hands, feeling ashamed. How could he think such things in front of the child? He silently chanted to himself, "Clear your mind, clear your mind." But it didn't work at all. He could only get up and head to the bathroom to take care of it. Meanwhile, Kenta was feeling troubled. He thought with the boss bringing Minjun back, there would definitely be changes. And thinking about how much the young master listened to him made Kenta even more worried. Then the new English teacher, Kubo, was brought in. Kenta was going to take him to find the young master, but he had something come up and couldn't leave. So he told him to go upstairs to the young master's room himself. Kubo went upstairs as he said. He found the room at the end and reached out to open the door. He thought he'd see the young master. But instead he saw Minjun sitting on the toilet. Right now he was red-faced taking care of business. Kubo wasn't prepared to see such a scene. He panicked, apologized, and quickly slammed the door shut. Minjun didn't expect the door to be unlocked and for someone to see him. He only had one thought. I'm doomed. After finishing his work, Kenta was showing Kubo around introducing the rooms. He even mentioned the bathroom. Whenever the bathroom was mentioned, Kubo couldn't help but think of that scene he saw there. Back in the room, playing with Toma, Minjun found out Kubo was the new English teacher. He smiled and greeted him on the surface, but inside he was screaming. He thought maybe he should just hide whenever class starts. But thinking about how the organization had people guarding everywhere, he thought there was nowhere to hide. This man just wanted to leave for a bit. But he was held back by the kid's adorable little face. He just wanted Toma.